The Crusades were a series of religious wars and military campaigns that took place between the 11th and 13th centuries. The term Crusader, as we know it today, was not the term used by the participants during the medieval Crusades. The term Crusader is a modern retrospective term that has been applied to those who took part in the Crusades. Participants in the Crusades typically identified themselves by their own regional or national affiliations, such as Franks, Normans, Germans, or English, depending on their origin. It was only in later centuries that the term Crusader came into common use to describe those who participated in these military campaigns. This term is now widely recognized and used to describe the participants in the Crusades, even though it was not how they referred to themselves during the medieval period. The word crusade itself comes from the Latin term crux, or crucis, meaning cross, and it was used in a religious context to refer to the taking of the cross, which was a vow to go on a holy war to the Holy Land. The Crusades were often referred to as pilgrimages, or journeys, in the documents of the time, emphasizing their religious nature. These wars were primarily fought between Christians and Muslims, with the goal of capturing and controlling the holy city of Jerusalem and the surrounding region. The Crusaders traveled significant distances to reach the Holy Land during the Crusades. The Holy Land, particularly Jerusalem, was a distant and challenging destination for Western European Christians, and Crusaders had to cover vast distances to get there. These journeys often involved long and arduous travel by land and sea. The First Crusade, for example, saw participants from various parts of Western Europe, including France, Italy, Germany, and other regions. They had to travel across Europe, Asia Minor, modern-day Turkey, and the Middle East to reach Jerusalem. The journey was both physically demanding and fraught with dangers, including hostile territory, disease, and harsh weather conditions. The pilgrimage to the Holy Land involved crossing deserts, mountains, and encountering different cultures and languages. Many Crusaders had to traverse thousands of miles over several years to reach their destination. The long distances and challenging conditions of the journey were significant factors contributing to the hardships faced by the Crusaders. The vast distances involved in the Crusades underscore the deep religious commitment and determination of the participants to undertake such challenging and lengthy journeys in the pursuit of their religious objectives. Here are some key points about the Crusades. Background: the Crusades were sparked by religious fervor and a desire to reclaim Jerusalem and the Holy Land, which had been under Muslim control since the 7th century. The initial call for a crusade was made by Pope Urban II in 1095, and this marked the beginning of the First Crusade. First Crusade, 1096-1099. The First Crusade was the most successful and resulted in the capture of Jerusalem by the Crusaders in 1099. The Crusaders established several Christian states in the region, including the Kingdom of Jerusalem. Later Crusades, after the success of the First Crusade, subsequent Crusades were launched to maintain Christian control over the Holy Land and to reclaim lost territories. The Crusaders often found themselves outnumbered in the Muslim-majority territories of the Holy Land during the Crusades. When the First Crusade captured Jerusalem in 1099, the Crusaders established a number of Christian states in the region, including the Kingdom of Jerusalem. However, these Crusader states were surrounded by a Muslim-majority population, and the Crusaders were frequently outnumbered by the Muslim forces. The Crusader states faced constant military threats from Muslim powers, including the renowned Muslim leader Saladin, Salah ad-Din, who led the Ayyubid dynasty. Saladin's rise to power and his efforts to unite Muslim forces posed a significant challenge to the Crusader states. The Battle of Hattin in 1187, where Saladin decisively defeated the Crusader forces, led to the loss of Jerusalem and most of the Crusader states. Throughout the subsequent Crusades, the European Crusaders, who were often reinforced by new arrivals from Europe, had to contend with a Muslim world that was not only more populous but also often more unified in its opposition to the Crusader presence. The Crusader states were surrounded by Muslim territories, making their military position precarious. Despite being outnumbered, the Crusaders held on to some coastal cities and territories for extended periods, with the support of European reinforcements. However, over time, the Muslim forces were able to regroup and retake many of these territories, eventually leading to the decline and ultimate collapse of the Crusader states in the Levant. The numerical superiority of the Muslim world was one of the many challenges that the Crusaders faced during their presence in the Holy Land, along with geographic, logistical, and political challenges. There were a total of 9 major crusades, with the last one ending in 1272. Key figures, prominent figures in the Crusades included Richard the Lionheart of England, Saladin, the Muslim leader who recaptured Jerusalem, and various European monarchs, nobles, and religious leaders who participated in or supported the Crusades. Consequences: the Crusades had far-reaching consequences. They led to cultural exchanges between the East and West, increased trade and the transfer of knowledge, and the establishment of military orders like the Knights Templar and the Hospitallers. However, the Crusades also resulted in significant loss of life and resources and contributed to the ongoing tensions between Christians and Muslims. Reconquista: in addition to the Crusades in the East, there was a parallel effort called the Reconquista in the Iberian Peninsula, where Christian kingdoms sought to retake territory from Muslim rule. This culminated in the capture of Granada in 1492, marking the end of Muslim rule in Spain. Legacy: the legacy of the Crusades is complex. While they were driven by religious motivations, they had political, economic, and cultural implications. They also left a lasting impact on the historical memory and relations between different religious and cultural groups. The Crusades are a significant and often controversial part of history, and their impact is still a topic of discussion and study in modern times. The Kingdom of Jerusalem, established during the First Crusade in 1099, lasted for almost 2 centuries before being gradually dismantled and eventually conquered. In contrast, the modern State of Israel was officially established on May 14, 1948, following the end of the British Mandate in Palestine. Israel has been an independent nation for less than a century,